for the reasons why we're asking for the waiver and have the matter reset. Two of the main ones, or three of the main ones, I guess, is at this time, the alleged victim hasn't appeared. Prosecutor intends to go victimless. In one file, he has the officer here, but that officer is here for different cases as well. Other file, he doesn't have that particular officer. I think it's Officer Fox.
Officer Fox is on medical leave.
The alleged victim has contacted the prosecutor and spoke with the prosecutor and has recanted and basically said she probably lied to the police. She never got hit. So he's basically a witness that I would have to subpoena the prosecutor. I also have the investigator working on the case. He's done a brief interview with her by phone, and he's going to talk to her again to see if he can get an affidavit from her regarding the incident. So it's for further investigation. Also, there's been some negotiations where we've made some counter offers to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor has to check with his office to see if he can get anything approved that Mr. Jackson's willing to plead to resolve the case. One counter offer is to plead to an attempt RNO with the 6-month cap and probation. We originally talked about possibly pleading to 2 93-day domestic violences that just served straight jail time. Mr. Jackson would prefer the pleading to the attempt RNO. So those two things the prosecutor is going to discuss with his office.
Most of the stuff you told me last week. Why didn't you motion to adjourn last week before we had people subpoenaed?
When me and the prosecutor discussed this last week, he was going to talk to his office to see how they wanted to handle it. And today, there was discussions about whether or not he would testify or not testify. I don't know if it's fully clear how we were going to handle that. Plus, he has an officer that's not available that is out. I don't know if we knew that last week.
Mr. Martin.
I wasn't aware, last week that Mark Fox was on medical leave. I was prepared to run the one exam because he's a 24 case. I was prepared to run. I did discuss the issue of the recanting with Tusco and Pfeiffer, and they did not believe actually that I'm of the position that it's not really appropriate for me to be testifying about it at the preliminary exam stage, but it seems as though Mr. Etheridge is insistent on calling me as a witness. I think that for probable cause purposes, I'd be willing to just stipulate the fact that she says it never happened. And ultimately that's a credibility issue for probable cause purposes. It seems like a trial issue to me. It doesn't seem necessary to call me as a witness. But Mr. Etheridge is insistent on that, and we don't have someone else here who can run the exam at the moment. I have to make arrangements for that.
You know, last week.
I did not know last week that he was going to insist on calling me as a witness.
You said that was a concern. You told me that.
I said I was going to discuss it, and I discussed it, and I thought, okay, I think that it's not necessary for me to testify. That's where we are.
Mr. Etheridge, if your investigator has interviewed her and she's provided substantially the same statement to him, wouldn't your investigator just be able to be the witness?
Your Honor, it is possible he could be the witness, but however...
Isn't that the whole point of the investigator?
Excuse me?
Isn't that the whole point of the investigator? He can interview witnesses and provide information and potentially testify to impeach them?
True, Your Honor, but I don't know what exact information was provided to the prosecutor in terms of the statement. I just got like one-liners. She said she lied. He didn't hit me. And I may have lied or might have lied to the police. The investigator may have different information once he interviews her in terms of other parts of the case. And some of this would apply if he's proceeding. If he wasn't proceeding victimless and she was here, I could ask her and then impeach her by calling him. But if he's proceeding victimless, it also, I think, would go to 27C and those factors of whether or not the information would even come in based on some of the information that I'm getting from him and from the investigator.
My understanding is that 27C focuses on the circumstances of the statement at the time it's made, not like...
The only reference to sort of extraneous information is whether there's any thing that would cause you to have, show you that they have a reason to lie. such as a custody case or something else, That's the only one that sort of references things that are outside the bubble of the actual circumstances of the statement. Okay, Mr. Martino, you didn't actually respond to the motion to adjourn.
I don't have any objection with the 25 case. I would agree that there is a cause to adjourn because Mark Fox is not available to testify. And on the 24 case, I would defer to the court because I am ready to proceed on that one. But it sounds like Mr. Etheridge is not prepared to have an investigator testify to what the victim said, which I don't think it's necessary at prelims. I understand that there's obviously value in holding them together, but the witnesses are not the same for the two of them. So I have no qualms with splitting them and doing one now and doing one later, but I would just defer to the court if Mr. Etheridge wants to adjourn both of them. I don't have any objection to that.
Mr. Jackson, you have the right to have your preliminary exam within the time provided by the court rule. That is why yours is scheduled to occur today. That's a hearing where the government must bring some evidence to demonstrate probable cause to believe the felonies occurred and probable cause to believe that you're the person who committed these felonies. You understand?
Yes.
The lawyer's asking to postpone the hearing to give more time to get some information before we proceed. You understand he's making a request.
Because the good cause for one officer is not here, and he can run the other one, but we don't have the information.
You understand your lawyer's asking that I postpone these hearings. Understand that in order to postpone them, you must waive your right to have the hearings within the time provided by the rule. Not waiving your right to have the hearings, you're waiving your right to have them occur today. Understand?
Yes.
Is that what you want to do?
Except for the court stuff.
Question I said was, is that what you want to do?
Wanted to be dismissed.
That ain't happening. We're either starting or we're not, but I'm not dismissing.
We can get it adjourned. That's what I want to do, adjourn.
Did anyone make any promises or threats to you in order to get you to postpone your preliminary exam?
No.
And that time has been knowingly and voluntarily waived. 2025 exam. Just trying to find a date for you because as I said, when we started, time is at a premium right now. Try to squeeze you in July 17 or we're gonna end up August 8. Or August 7, probably August 7.
With the earlier date is if possible, Your Honor, if not, whatever the court's docket will allow.
We'll put it on for July 17 at 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
Reluctantly, I'll also set the 24 exam for that day. Other matters for the record?
Not for the people.
Your Honor, Mr. Jackson would ask the court to entertain a bond motion. Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Jackson would ask the court to consider PR bonds in both files for the amount that the cash bond is currently set out with GPS tether. He has a local address that he currently has. It's 5801 Richmond Street in Lansing.
It's not the address he provided to the magistrate.
Yes, Your Honor. He advised me that.
Nope, that's not the address, so I need the address.
5801 Richmond Street, Ridgewood Street, Your Honor.
Richmond,
Richland?
Richwood Street.
Richwood, Your Honor.
Whose place is that?
My sister,
What's the zip code?
48911.
By Mr. Etheridge.
Your Honor, he's currently working at McDonald's in Holt. He believes he still has the employment there as long as he can get out of jail soon to go back to work. He's also concerned that he would be losing the house that he currently leases, is what he told me earlier, because he hasn't been able to pay rent while he's been in jail and not working. Again, he would follow the no contact provisions. He hasn't had any contact or attempted to have any contact that I'm aware of, and that I think the prosecutor said he hasn't made any jail calls. That when we discussed it earlier, or attempted to make any jail calls to the alleged victim. He advised me he is on public assistance, and the public assistance would pay for the tether. He's asked the court to consider a PR bond with appropriate bond conditions. And I guess one thing I would also advise the court that I just saw in my notes, he is on hold for child support. I think it's a civil matter, but he'll be off of that hold Tuesday, he advises.
Mr. Marchmina, on the motion to amend the bond,
People have no position.
since the defendant has been unable to post bond, it's granted in part. I see that these are serious assaultive offenses with lots of prior assaultive convictions. Bond will be set at 5,000 cash surety with all the same conditions, which include the GPS setter and the no contact order. Anything else?
Not for people.
Not from the defense, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. On the record in State of Michigan versus Tyrese James Jones, 2501742 FY.
Ross Marchmina for the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Stephen A. Freeman, Assistant Public Defender, appearing on behalf of Mr. Jones, who is to my immediate left.
And you are Tyrese Jones. Pardon?
I am
Thank you. Today is the date scheduled for preliminary exam, and it's my understanding we're going to proceed to a hearing. Do we have preliminary matters?
I would just note that we have Lauren Jones here to testify, but after she testifies, the people will be requesting continuance to get additional witness here to finish the exam.
Okay. Mr. Freeman?
I didn't catch one word. I'm sorry.
We have Lauren Jones here to testify, and at the conclusion of her testimony, the people will request a continuance to additional witness here to finish the exam.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Freeman, any preliminary matters from the defense?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Your first witness, Mr. Marchmina.
The people call Lauren Jones.
Before you're seated, please stop, look at me, and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay, have a seat. As we begin, just a couple reminders. One, you have to be loud enough for me to hear you around this plexiglass.
Okay.
Also, answer with words that my assistant can type like yes or no. If you say or nod your head, we do not know how to spell that very well. You can start with stating your first and last name, spelled both names for us.
Lauren Jones, Laurenjones.
Thank you. Your questions for witness Jones.
Ms. Jones, do you know someone named Tyrese Jones?
Yes,
How do you know Mr. Tyrese Jones?
we have a child in common and former relationship.
How long did you guys have a relationship?
About 2.5 years.
Okay. What is your child's name?
London Jones,
Okay. And how do you spell London, just for record?
Londyn.
Okay. How old is London?
She is 2.5,
2.5. What's her date of birth?
November 16th, 22.
Okay. Do you see Tyrese in the courtroom right now?
Yes,
Could you please tell me where he's sitting and describe something he's wearing?
a white button down to the right of his attorney.
Okay.
Or-
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Could the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
Mr. Freeman, any objection?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Record will reflect ID.
Lauren, do you remember April 19th, 2025?
yes.
Where were you on April 19th?
I took London to the Easter egg hunt at the Capitol in the morning.
Okay. And was there a time when you were, so the Capitol is in downtown Lansing?
Yes,
So that is city of Lansing, Ingham County?
yes,
Okay. Was there a time when you came into contact with Tyrese Jones?
yes.
Tell me about that.
We were leaving, London and I were leaving the Easter egg hunt. I had parked my car on Townsend. We were walking to the car and Tyrese pulled up. I saw his vehicle do a U-turn on Townsend.
So you saw his vehicle and you recognized his vehicle?
Yes,
So you're familiar with what he drives?
yes.
Okay.
He did a U-turn and pulled up on the opposite side of the street and jumped out of his vehicle and came up to London and I.
Okay. And at this time, was there a custody order in place?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
On March 28th, I was granted full physical and legal custody of London, and Mr. Jones was placed on supervised visits.
Okay. And what county was that order based out of?
Eaton County.
Okay. So back to April 19th, he jumps out of the car, approaches you in London. What happened next?
I was frightened a little bit. I picked up London, and he proceeded to kind of pull London from my arms. I begged him to not take her. He said, "I'm not going to take her. I miss my daughter. I just want to see her for a minute."
Okay.
Um,
And did you know that he was going to be there?
no, I had no idea.
Okay. So he's trying to just pick up where you left off.
At that point, he grabbed her from my arms. And we were at the sidewalk. He had his minor son get out of his vehicle. He had another child. Yes.
How old is this child, if you know?
I'm not sure. Somewhere around 10. I'm not
Okay,
certain.
neighborhood of 10, and
Yeah,
this is not your child though?
correct.
Okay. So his other child gets out of the car.
Mhm.
What happens from there?
They come over to the sidewalk and they were just interacting with London. London seemed happy to see her dad. And so they interacted for, I'd say 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Tyrese asked if he could take her for ice cream. I said, no, you cannot take her to get ice cream. He said, can I take her for lunch? And I said, you can't take her anywhere. And he said, well, would you join us? I miss my daughter. I would like to see her. Will you join us for lunch? I was apprehensive to say no.
Why were you apprehensive to say no?
I don't trust him.
Okay. But did you ultimately agree to go to lunch with Tyrese?
Yes, I did.
Where'd you guys go?
We agreed to meet at Arts Bar on Kalamazoo.
Okay. And that is also in the city of Lansing?
Yes,
Is it in Ingham County?
yes.
Okay, so who all was at Arts?
Myself, Tyrese, London, and his son Tyrese.
Okay. So his son has the same name as him?
Same first name.
Same first name? Okay. So you, London, Tyrese, and his son are all at Arts.
Mhm.
What happens from
I'm
there?
sorry, was that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
What happens from there?
Tyrese and London are visiting. They ordered food. They interacted for a couple minutes. Tyrese he was taking pictures with London. It was just him and London interacting together. About 10 minutes in, Tyrese wanted to talk about our family custody case. I declined. I said it wasn't a time or a place to discuss the case. And he kept pursuing the conversation. I politely declined. Please have lunch with your daughter. And he said, well, I want to talk about this. And I said, well, I'm not going to. And at that point, he grabbed London from the chair and he went out the back door.
So London was sitting at a chair. Was this at a table in Arts?
Yes, it was a table.
Okay. And did he ask your permission to pick London up?
No, he
Okay.
picked London up and he went out the back door.
Did he tell you he was going to pick her up, or did he just do it?
He just did it.
Okay. And you said he went out the back door of the restaurant?
Yes.
Okay. What happened next?
I immediately jumped up. I tried to stop him and he just took off the back door.
And when you said you tried to stop him, how did you try to stop him?
I just tried to grab, kind of grab his arm a little bit, grab her, give her back, you cannot take her. And he
Okay.
continued out the back door.
Okay. And then what happened after he went out the back door?
I grabbed my cell phone from the table. I immediately called 911 and I proceeded to go out of the front entrance.
Okay. When you went out of the front entrance, what did you see? What happened?
I went towards his vehicle. He was parked to the left in handicap. I went to his vehicle. I noticed London was in the passenger side front seat of the vehicle and the doors were locked.
So London was in the front passenger seat of Tyrese's car,
Correct,
the car that you knew to be his,
correct,
and the door was locked.
correct.
Was Tyrese in the area when you first got to the car?
No,
Okay. So when you get to the car and you see London locked in the front seat, what did you do?
I was on the phone with 911 and I was also trying to tell London to open the door.
Okay. When you were telling London to open the door, what happened?
She was smiling at me. She's a toddler.
Didn't understand.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened next? Did Tyrese come back at some point?
He did. He came back out, I believe, the front door with his son. His son walked out. He had my bag that I had for London, diaper bag. And he got back into his vehicle.
Okay. So he came out with his son. He was holding your diaper bag.
Yes,
which obviously I say you own the bag, but it's for London, correct?
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. And then he went to his car. What
Yes.
happened from there?
I did get the diaper bag back, because it also had my debit card and ID, so I was able to retrieve that back from him. Tyrese, entered the vehicle. He picked up London from the passenger side seat and he placed London in the back seat on his minor child's lap.
Okay,
On his son's lap.
so was Tyrese in the car when he moved London?
Yes,
Where was he sitting in the car when he moved London?
in the driver's seat.
Okay. So then while sitting in the driver's seat, he moved London to the back.
Yes.
Can you tell me about where London was seated in the back seat?
She was seated on her brother, on his son's lap.
Okay. And you said earlier he's in the neighborhood of 10 years old.
Yes.
Can you remind me approximately how old London is at this time?
London was about 2 years and 4 months old.
When you are driving with London, can you tell me about the safety precautions that you take with her?
She's in a car seat.
Okay.
She's on the back seat.
Was she in a car seat when?
No, there was not a car seat in his vehicle.
So after he puts her in the back seat on his son's lap, what happened next?
He drove away. He
Okay.
left the parking lot.
Okay. And while he was driving, was London still situated like that?
I couldn't see because he has tinted windows.
Okay.
At the time that he was placing her, I was looking in the vehicle.
Okay. And you could see there was no car seat.
There was no car seat in the
Okay.
vehicle.
Okay. He drove away. Did he say where he was going when he drove away?
No,
Okay. Did you give him permission to drive away?
no.
Okay. What happened next?
While that was happening, I was still on the phone with 911. They were dispatching an officer to me. Officer Washington, was the first one to show up. And then I gave my statement to the officer.
Okay.
Of what I just told you, what happened. So I gave my statement to the officer. A couple more officers, arrived after that. One of them asked for Tyrese's phone number. So I gave the officer his phone number. The officer called Tyrese on the phone.
And did you see the officer call Tyrese?
Yes.
Okay. And did you hear what the officer said to Tyrese?
Bits and pieces of it. I was still kind of answering questions for Officer Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you hear anything that Tyrese said to the officer?
I heard him say he was not bringing her back to come find him.
Okay.
And,
So
and he hung up, and
Okay.
Tyrese hung up on the
So he
officer.
told the officer, you need to come find me?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have any other interactions with Tyrese that day?
No. Well, oh yes, I'm sorry. He called me, I'm not sure the time frame, maybe 15 minutes later. I don't know. But he called me shortly after while I was still at Arts Bar. And he wanted to negotiate how long he could keep London and when he could return London.
Okay. And how did you respond to that?
I said, there is no negotiation. You need to return her immediately to Arts Bar.
Did he return her to Arts Bar?
Nope,
Okay.
no,
And was that your last interaction with him that day?
yes,
Did you eventually get London back?
yes.
Can you just tell me about you getting her back? Who returned London to you?
It was a joint effort between Meridian Township Police and Lansing Police Department.
Okay. So did a police officer return her to you?
Yes,
Okay.
that's it. She was released from his home.
Okay. So you said you had a relationship with Tyrese for multiple years.
Yes,
Is he from Michigan?
no,
Where is he from?
Chicago, Illinois.
Okay. Does he still have family in Chicago?
Yes,
Do you know what sort of family he has?
his mother, his sister, his grandmother, his brothers, his
His whole
entire.
family's in
Yes,
Chicago?
yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions at this time. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Jones, if I ask you a question that's not clear or confusing, just let me know and we'll rephrase it. Okay. All right. Thank you. This lunch was at Arts Pub or Arts Bar, is that right?
Arts Bar on Kalamazoo.
Okay. Do you know someone by the name of Shondell?
No,
Shondell Jackson? No?
no,
Thank you. Do you know if anyone from Arts Bar was a witness to you and the situation you just described?
do I know them personally? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
No,
Okay. Did you witness any behavior on the part of my client, Mr. Jones, that in your opinion was beyond the scope of parenting a 2-year-old?
can you repeat that?
Yeah. Did you notice any behaviors that you attribute to Mr. Jones that in your opinion exceeded the scope of?
Objection to relevance.
Mr.
He's
Freeman.
charged with did knowingly restrain a 2-year-old. And my point is going to be, you can't restrain a 2-year-old. Or in other words, you have to. You pick them up, you put them in the
Well, you gotta
chair.
ask some of those questions then, Mr. Freeman. Go ahead. Your question was very vague. If you want the witness to answer those types of things, you probably should ask her very specifically.
The law enforcement, they were able to go to an address in Meridian Township and find the child. Is that true?
Yes,
Okay. And was it Mr. Jones who indicated the address?
no,
Did Mr. Jones call you and tell you where he was?
no,
All right. In any event, how long was Mr. Jones with your daughter?
roughly 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours.
All right, thank you. Do you have any information that he took her outside of Ingham County?
No,
Just a couple more questions. Did I understand your testimony that when you ran into or he ran into you in downtown Lansing, you agreed to go with him to that lunch?
yes,
You agreed to take the child?
yes,
Was there any kind of a verbal disagreement or discussion between you and Mr. Jones at the restaurant?
I declined to discuss the family case. If you want to call that a disagreement.
Were you upset with him at that time?
No,
Okay. Did he give you the impression he was upset with you?
yes,
Okay. And did there come a time that you stood up from the table and exited the restaurant?
no.
Okay.
Well, when he left with our daughter, I left the restaurant.
Sure. You did not leave prior to that? Is that what your testimony is?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Do you know whether Arts Bar is equipped with surveillance cameras?
I do not.
But you're testifying today that you did not leave before Mr. Jones. You left essentially at the same time, not with him, but at the same time.
Yes,
Okay. And was someone carrying your child when you exited the restaurant?
Mr. Jones was carrying my child.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Nothing further.
Redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, you may step down.
This time, the people will request continuance.
How many more witnesses?
Either one or two.
Mr. Freeman, do you wish to be heard on the request to continue?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
You know how much time it's going to take to get your witnesses here?
It should not take long. They're both officers.
Okay. We'll go with July 17 at 10.
May I trouble you for the day of the week that is, Judge, please?
It's a Thursday,
Thank you.
July 17, 10 a.m. to continue the examination. Anything else for the record today?
Not for the people.
Your Honor, just in terms of scheduling, I would indicate to the court that I am scheduled to begin a jury trial with Judge Aquilina starting on 14th of July. And the prosecuting attorney is projecting to take a week. I don't really think it will. So if I may, I'll just alert counsel and the court to that. And there's always a possibility that the case gets bumped or
Well,
something
if you
else.
want me to put it out another week, I can do that.
Well, that would assure me of being present, yes.
Well, 1 week. It's probably gonna go to July 31st. July 31st at 10?
Very much.
You're not in trial that day, are you?
I have not.